Cultural expert Musa Xulu joins us now for more on that. Kobasha, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. What's actually happening here in the Zulu Royal household? Abantwana bagwabusha. What are they bringing? What is their complaint that they're bringing here?
Well, they are the siblings. Good evening, Ndatem Dole. They are the siblings of the late King Zwelithini, and they are now the elders of the Zulu Royal family, the household, not the kingdom, the household itself as a family.
Yeah.
They have two things, maybe three, that they are complaining about. The first thing is that during the time when King Misuzulu, when then Prince Mbonisi Zulu was appointed, or in whatever way, some rituals to connect him, cultural rituals, to spiritually connect him with his father, so that the connectivity of all the Zulu kings spiritually in the spiritual world is confirmed, were not performed. And they say that, for example, the spear that he's seen moving around with is actually should have been the spear of his father, but it's not the spear of his father, so maybe he bought it somewhere, which then cuts, the entirety of moving from one king to the next. And then the other thing, of course, that they complain about is that as a result of those rituals not being performed, the king has decided to drop possibly the most important ceremony in the history of the Zulu kingdom, in the traditions of the Zulu kingdom, which is the first fruit ceremony. That is one part. The second part, they argue that, well, the king is a trustee in Ingonyama Trust, but there are issues of governance. We all know that if you are a trustee, it does not mean that you have privilege to use funds of the trust. There would have been a board resolution, which now is confirmed was not there. There would have been the minister authorizing these funds that have been paid to many lawyers from Ingonyama Trust. It has not been authorized, but it was paid. So I think they go there because they think that they feel that he is abusing the Ingonyama Trust to cover his many court cases. And interestingly, the premier of KZN, who was also cited, and President Cyril Ramaphosa, decided not to contest this case. So King Misuzulu is on his own, maybe with his traditional prime minister. And then the third thing, of course, which was raised now by Attorney Barnabas Xulu, is the issue of fairness in terms of, because the issues that are at stake here are not as a result of the work that the king is doing, but they are as a result of the processes that happened before being not followed. So they contest that maybe, you remember there was another case, there is another case which ruled that his appointment by the president was not correct. And it also cited the same issues of procedure. So those are the things that the royal family is actually contesting.
Yeah.
I hear Mr. Buthelezi saying that the king performs these duties and those duties. He's not speaking the truth. The appointment of Amakosi, those ceremonies, etc., are done by provincial government. They invite him, the king, wherever it is possible, but it's just not true.
Yeah. So,
then,
I mean, the Prime Minister now saying this is another way of usurping power to the throne via at the back door, when the heir to the throne is rightfully in his place at this particular point. So do you see this as another way in which the one house of the Zulu royal family is again trying to fight this question of succession via the courts, at least this time around, using this question of chairmanship of Ingonyama Trust and the use of financial benefits?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a long haul eventually, because I think kingship is not an individual kind of thing. The king comes from a family, and then he sets up a council which comes from various parts of society, various aspects. So if it continues like this, there's going to be more of these court cases where the members of the Zulu Royal family are unhappy, maybe even about the issues of conduct, how he conducts himself in public, and so on and so on. So it's not a matter, I can't see it ending now. And President Ramaphosa may rule that a committee be formed which investigates the processes that started, that were started by the late Prince Mbonisi. And if that committee rules that the matter should go back to the Zulu Royal family, then it will be a very, very heavy day.
And as far as the functioning then of the Ingonyama Trust, currently the board that is there, are there governance issues that it has to deal with? I mean, we know the chairperson was removed and the king decided to put himself there as the chairperson.
Well, Ingonyama Trust falls under the Department of Land Reform and Agriculture and Land Reform, which is headed by Minister Thoko Didiza. It's a public institution which is listed in the Public Finance Management Act under Schedule 3, not a private trust. So, you know, the governance issues become very clear there because they apply to all government institutions and entities as well as companies. There can be no exception. I think what the royal family is arguing about is that maybe the management of the trust is busy infringing the Public Finance Management Act, which could be a big blow if that would be true.
Yeah. How possible could that be? Because it's understood that the position of the chairperson is somewhat something more of a ceremonial position, but not necessarily having that degree of power to be able to sign those amounts of money.
Yeah, well, the monies that have been paid, as I hear through my own research and investigations, have already been paid to some lawyers. You must remember that the Premier said when there was a demand for legal fees that they would have to consult with Auditor General and so on and so on. And I think that is why the King has decided to take a shortcut to Ingonyama Trust. But then those payments would have been done by the CEO and the CFO. And that would be a breach if it happened. And so you can expect more court cases around that. And maybe, as someone was saying earlier, those monies may have to be recalled. So you can expect that the Abantuana will go back to court for an order for those monies to be recalled back to Ingonyama Trust.
Yeah. But could also this be an indication to say the other faction within the royal family is, I suppose, running out of pocket with all these battles that have been going on back and forth in court?
Well, they could be, but you may never know what's going on. They feel that King Misuzulu is making use of public funds. You must remember he has a salary, he's salaried. And if things that happen in the course of his work become legally challenged, then of course there could be a point there. But these cases do not belong to the time when he is king. They belong to the time when he was not king.
Yeah.
And therefore they feel that because he's got a chief director's salary, they feel that maybe he should be using that money to pay for his own fees.
But isn't the money that is being paid to the royal family, I suppose, money that is used for the entire royal family, not just for the king himself?
Well, no, there is the Royal Household Trust, which has a budget of about 24 million. And then the provincial government, through the Office of the Premier, gives another 60 million or so for the upkeep of the Zulu Royal family. And that upkeep includes some compensations to, for example, the queens of the late king, or even paying for multi-choice DStv or petrol or cars and so on, just for the upkeep. But in the beginning of each financial year, the king is supposed to present a list of beneficiaries in that year, also pay for school fees and so on. And he decides who must benefit and who must not. That's a separate arrangement altogether from the Ingonyama Trust. It's a separate entity altogether, also run from the office of the Premier.
Right. Babu Xulu, much appreciated, and thank you very much for your intervention tonight. Professor Musa Xulu there, cultural expert on the latest court challenge brought on by the Zulu Royal family. Right.